Hello everyone, today I want to explain something that can be genuinely confusing if you are not Korean, the Korean rubbish system. So this thing will explain the thumbnail. If you end up living in a Korean apartment, you may come across a notice like this. If you read this notice, how much of it would you actually understand? Guide to separate disposal of styrofoam vinyl for recycling. Vinyl refers to a plastic film. Guide for throwing away rubbish. And what do they mean some styrofoam cannot be recycled? Isn't recycling just recycling? If any of these sounds strange to you, that is completely normal. So today, I want to explain the Korean waste system from ground up so that by the end, you will be able to read this notice and understand every single line. I personally studied at a university in Russia and also studied at a university in the United States of America. In both countries, dealing with rubbish seemed extremely simple. I had a bin, I threw things in the bin, that was it. Maybe there was a recycling bin next to it, and maybe there was not. But either way, nobody was going to knock on my door about it. Korea can be different. In Korea, all household waste is divided into categories. The most basic division is between general waste and recyclable waste. General waste means things like food wrappers, tissues, broken items, anything that cannot be recycled. Recyclable waste means things like plastic bottles, glass, cans, papers, and cardboard. In Korea, you cannot just throw general waste into any bag you like. You have to buy designated rubbish bags. These bags are sold at supermarkets and convenience stores, and they are priced by volume. The bigger the bag, the more expensive it is. A typical 20 liters bag costs roughly 500 won. 50-liter bag can cost over 1000 won. The idea behind this is simple. The more waste you produce, the more you pay. It is a pay-as-you-throw system, and it has been in place since 1995. Now here is an important thing to understand about the relationship between general waste and recyclable waste. Putting recyclable items into a general waste is not ideal, but it is not a serious problem. You have already paid for that bag, so in a sense, you are just wasting your own money by filling it with things that could have gone into recyclable for free. However, putting general waste into recycling, that is a completely different story. Why? Because recycling collection in Korea is free. You do not need to buy a special bag for it. You simply sort your recyclables and put them out. So if someone dumps their general waste into a recycling area, they're essentially avoiding paying for a rubbish bag and making someone else deal with the mess. In apartment complexes, the cleaning staff or recycling collectors then have to sort through it all by hand. This is why it is considered a very inconsiderate thing to do, and many apartment complexes, there are actually CCTV cameras pointed at the waste collection area. Now, on the top of just separating general waste from recyclables, Korea asks you to do one more thing. You have to clean your recyclables before you throw them out. Plastic bottles should be emptied and rinsed. Food containers, like ones you get from delivery mills, need to be washed. If a container still has a food residue stuck to it, it can contaminate an entire batch of recyclables, which means it all ends up going to landfill anyway. So rinsing is not just a suggestion, it actually matters. This is especially relevant when it comes to delivery food. Korea has one of the most developed food delivery culture in the world. After you finish your meal, you are left with plastic containers, sauce packets, and sometimes styrofoam boxes. You are expected to rinse these, separate them by material, and dispose of them accordingly. If the container is too greasy or stained to clean properly, then it does not go into recycling. it goes into general waste in a paid bag. For many foreigners, this is one of the most surprising parts of daily life in Korea. There is a separate system for food waste. Food waste does not go into general waste bags. In most apartments, there is a dedicated food waste bin, often with electronic sensor that weighs how much you are throwing away. You are charged based on weight. In some areas, you need to buy a separate food waste bag instead. Either way, food waste is collected separately and is usually processed into animal feed or compost. So let me quickly sum things up so far. In Korea, household waste is divided into at least 3 streams: general waste, which requires a paid bag; recyclable waste, which is free but must be sorted and cleaned; and food waste, which is collected and charged separately. Each of these has its own rules. Now, with all of this in mind, let me ask you a question. Why do you think there are almost no public rubbish bins in Korean streets? Think about it. The entire Korea waste system is built on the idea that you, the individual, are responsible for your own rubbish. You pay for your general waste bags, you sort your recyclables, you clean your containers. Now, imagine the government placed public bins on every street corner. What would happen? People would bring their household rubbish, the rubbish they are supposed to pay to dispose of, and dump it in those public bins for free. See this? 쓰레기 불법 투기 단속 촬영 지역. Filming location, illegal waste dumping. Public bins often create trouble because people use them for household waste. So many places simply avoid installing them. It reminds me of something from my military service. One day, a sergeant hit his company commander with an ashtray. After that, what the regimental commander said: remove every ashtray from the officers' rooms. Nobody could hit a spirit with an ashtray again, of course. Anyway, you will find some in subway station, near convenience stores and tourist spots, but in residential areas, they are almost non-existent. This also explains something else that surprises many foreigners. If you buy a coffee or a snack while walking down the street and you finish it, you may have to carry that empty cup or wrapper around for quite a while before you find a bin. Most Koreans are used to this. Many people simply take their rubbish home with them and sort it there. Now that you understand all of this, let's go back to the notice we saw at the beginning. Let's read through it properly this time. The title says, Guide to Separate Disposal of Styrofoam Vinyl for Recycling. It then says that from 1st of April 2018, due to a change in waste rules, vinyl will no longer be accepted as sorting centers for recycling. All vinyl should be put into paid standard garbage bags, the paid one. Then it shows photographs of items that cannot be recycled, instant noodle containers, fruit packaging, fruit trays, all coated disposal containers, all colored styrofoam, non-recyclable single-use wrap. In other words, if the styrofoam is dirty, colored, coated, or laminated, it is not recyclable and must go into your paid general waste bag. Below that, it lists what can be recycled as styrofoam. Clean white styrofoam with no table labels attached. Electronic packaging, for example, can be recycled, but you need to remove any tape and separate the caps first. And it clearly states, do not mix with other recyclables. So do you now understand the notice perfectly? What might have seemed like a confusing wall of text is actually logical once you understand how the Korean waste system works. Korea treats waste not as something you get rid of, but something you are responsible for managing. And that one idea shapes everything. From how you throw away a cup of ramen to why you cannot find a bin on the street. I hope today's video was helpful. If there is anything else about life in Korea that you would like me to explain, please leave a comment. Thank you for watching.